2, 3, 4.
Hey, how the fuck are you? I probably care you. Yes, sir. Welcome back, Pod Squad. This is the 109th episode of the kPodcast. I appreciate you being here more than you know. If you enjoy what you hear, you know what I'm saying, you want to follow the show, hit a like and subscribe on YouTube, leave a 5-star rating on the podcast app. You know what I'm saying? Not twisting your arm, just giving you suggestions, you know what I mean? Damn right! But tonight, man, today, whenever you're listening, we have a return guest, special guest, kPodcast alumni, super talented individual, independent artist, producer, DJ, event organizer, fucking, unofficial leader of the Innovators Music Group. We have Dez The Navigator on tonight's episode. So before we get into it with Dez, as I like to do, I'll play one of his songs, give you a little taste of what he got to bring to the table out here. And before we get to that, as you'll hear in the episode, we recorded this a week or two ago before I went to Reggae Rise Up in St. Pete, Florida. And I'm just fresh off the trip, so I figured I'd give you guys a little quick, recap of everything. That was my first time going. We went for my homie Buzzy's bachelor party, so shout out to Big Buzz. I guess they go fairly, I don't know if it's every year, but they've been a few times. And they had a great lineup. It's a whole weekend festival, but we only went for one day. And luckily for me, the artists performing on that day were some of my favorites. So it started around probably noon, but we didn't get there till maybe 4 o'clock or 3 to 4 o'clock because Jesse Royal, who I may or may not have played on this show, is a reggae artist out of Jamaica, was performing. We got to see him. Shout out to Jesse Royal. Honestly, phenomenal performer. I really feel like he didn't get enough respect from the crowd. He probably had the most energy out of anyone that we saw all day, at least in my opinion. Was jumping around, getting the crowd involved, was just very doing the callbacks, and great performer, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to Jesse Royal. We caught a glimpse of Modest Yahoo kind of from far back, and I know he's very open about his faith and everything. He's a very pro-Jewish artist, which obviously has just kind of been his identity, his brand or whatever since I listened to that dude back in college. It was a little weird where he started making a lot of political statements with everything that's going on today. And I'm not saying it was the wrong thing to do because I don't really, it didn't bother me per se, but I just thought it was an odd venue, an odd time and place to make statements like that. I guess the devil's advocate argument could be he's on one of the biggest stages, probably not in his life, but it was a large stage with a very large crowd, so maybe take that opportunity to make your statement. But you could, at least for us, it was noticeable with the lack of crowd applause and chanting and everything. It kind of killed the vibe a little bit, So that was interesting. Shout out to Mas Yahoo, though. I mean, from what we heard of his actual set, the music he was performing, it was dope. I definitely recognized a couple joints. Like I said, I used to listen to him years ago back in college. We unfortunately missed the Cali Buds set. I was excited to see Cali Buds. However, the way that it's set up, the festival is basically divided into 2 separate stages, each on one far end of the venue. So there were a lot of times where you kind of had to pick and choose. So our dilemma was we either go see Cali Buds and potentially miss some of Stephen Marley's set, which I personally was not willing to do. because not only is it Stephen Marley, but this past February 2025 would have been the late, great Bob Marley's 80th birthday. Rest in peace. So Stephen Marley and his band did basically an 80th anniversary tribute. And it was crazy. So not only does Stephen sound freakishly like his dad, I think out of all Bob Marley's sons, Stephen vocally and the way his music sounds is probably the most similar sonically to Bob. So not only is that a factor, but they literally introduced the band as Bob Marley and the Wailers, knowing that they were doing this celebratory anniversary set. So it was insane. I feel like we literally got transported back in time and we were in the 70s, 80s listening to Bob Marley play for real. You know, he played all the greatest hits. Even some kind of B-side joints that not a lot of people knew, but I fucking knew every single song they played because I'm a huge Bob fan. So that was big. That was monumental for me personally. Legendary set. And funny enough, I just saw on Instagram, they're posting recap of the set. Obviously, photos of him and his band on stage, but there was one where it's kind of zoomed out showing how large the crowd was. And I found myself in the crowd on Stephen Marley's post because we were fairly close up. You know, we couldn't have been more than maybe 100, 150 feet back or something like that from the stage. And again, it was a large stage with a large crowd. But yeah, that was fucking phenomenal, legendary shit. We were all like just kind of in awe after that. And then they went back to the other stage to go see the Elevators that I'd never heard of, but from the music they were playing, they sounded dope. I actually stayed around the main stage with one of our homies that was in the bachelor party, Dominic, because he had a fucked up foot. He had a cast on his foot, so he was kind of limited mobility. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just not leave my man here by himself. So we basically just hung out at the main stage and waited for the closer, who was Slightly Stoopid, to play. And they did as great as always. I realized at that show, Slightly Stoopid for me is probably my most seen artist ever live. Granted, I hadn't seen them live in probably 10 years, but back in college, even a little bit after college, I must have seen them at least 5-6 times live at different festivals and whatnot. So it was cool to like kind of get reunited with them as far as live music goes, feel the vibes. They played a lot of the golden oldies that we all knew. So it was a great time, great festival. Shout out to Reggae Rise Up in St. Pete, Florida. Definitely check it out if you have not yet. But now we are back in sunny Orlando. Got this episode 109 ready for that ass.
Damn right.
You know what I mean? But like I said, as promised, I'm going to go ahead and play Dez's newest single before we get into the episode. The single is called Go to France. And I'll tell you, Dez is traditionally a hip-hop artist, produces hip-hop stuff, but this song is labeled as house. So, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to fucking diversify your portfolio, you know what I'm talking about?
Shit.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for episode 109 of the kPodcast. You might recognize this man right here. Was on, what was it? It was like 102, I think.
It's about a year ago, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a while, but I don't even remember the episode number. One of his partners was just on here, episode 106,
A few
ACT.
months ago.
But we got the man, the myth, the legend in the building, Dez The Navigator. How you doing, brother?
What's up? Fresh off the road.
Yeah, I appreciate you making the drive
here.
up.
I'm here, yes.
You know,
Yes,
some people
definitely.
think, because we live in the same state, like, oh yeah, Miami's just a hop, skip, and a jump away. It's like a fucking 3.5 hour drive.
Nah, for sure. And it depends, man. You're on the turnpike, it turns into 2 lanes. If you take 95, that's a whole nother adventure.
That is true.
If you take it US 27, you're different. You must be a truck driver if you take US 27.
You typically take Turnpike?
I take Turnpike.
Turnpike,
I live
Ike.
closer to the Turnpike, yeah.
Shout out to Rick Rouse.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Well, I appreciate you coming back.
Nah, for
We got
sure.
a couple things to talk about today.
Hey, run it. I spent all week thinking like, man, what's the questions gonna be, man? I don't know. So I'm here.
Well, I know we did a pretty extensive ones and twos last time because we had the
Yes.
whole crew here, the Innovators.
Yes, for sure.
We can run back through some of those just to get the dialed in Dez perspective, you know?
That's fine with that.
But we'll try to keep it short because I feel like we literally spent half the episode on that last time.
Of course.
So we want to dive more into the Dez story today.
I can't wait to do another one of those. Now that y'all know us, that'll be a good show again. Shout out to the crew and run down the lineup. Right, we go to the top. Shout out PJ. His birthday was just last week.
Shout out
too,
PJ.
Depending on when this drop. So happy belated again.
Yes, sir.
And then you got ACT who was just here. ACT. Now I'm letting y'all know off the top. This ain't the ACT episode. I don't have no teaching of hip hop to the students. He's better than me, y'all. So
Hey, man,
check out the
we
ACT
all bring something new to the
episode.
table, man.
He's out here bringing hip hop to the youth, so check that out.
Shout out ACT.
Chin, aka Lathan, Douglas, you know he on the keys. You trying to make that happen. Then the other guys that everybody seemed to forget, and girls and all that stuff. So the other people, shout out to Senor Chase,
Senor
Mr.
Chase.
Georgia. He out here, he's shooting content as well. Then you have my cousin, my partner in the beats. Scuba Jews on the beats. He's in Virginia. Hey, y'all need a DJ. Y'all need beats. Hit him up. And then the super behind the scenes people, like with Dog Kenny. He was here on the episode.
Shout out Kenny.
Shout out Josh Carter Collection. He's doing his thing in the background. And then all the affiliates. Y'all already know. Shout out Erica as well. But any more shout outs when we get this started? Nah, we'll probably have more shout outs later.
Yeah, that's
so
all
let's
coming
run
out
to
organically.
it. We got this.
Oh, you guys, that's what I said last time, I think, on the group episode. You guys are like the new age Wu-Tang, bro.
Yes. Shout out Wu-Tang
Shout out
because
Wu-Tang.
they're on their farewell tour, man. I was like, yo,
I saw that.
If y'all haven't seen Wu-Tang, just do it. I've been telling people, I said this on an interview a long time ago, like, hey, if you have the opportunity to see these people.
Have you seen them live?
I seen them twice.
Damn.
Seen them twice, and then I went to the 3 Chambers tour, which was Jizza, Ghostface, and Raekwon as well. And then it was Raekwon and Ghostface at an appearance. So I done seen them a few times. Miami. Yeah, they did Miami and West Palm.
Nice.
So it was my first opportunity to see Busta Rhymes. So
Okay.
I took that opportunity.
There
So
you go.
when they did Wu, Nas, Busta, I was out of there.
Shit.
Needed that. Yeah. So
I've seen Nas a couple times. I don't think
Really?
I've ever seen any of the Wu members.
they be down here.
Right.
But I think the closest is Tampa.
Tampa, Miami probably.
I didn't
makes
see
the most
Miami
sense.
on the list,
Really?
but hey, just of course they're missing one, of course, ODB.
Right. Rest
But
in
his
peace.
son brings the same energy.
Right.
So
Facts. I'm actually reading the Tao of Wu right now. Riz's
Really?
book. Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm almost done with it.
what do you think about it?
It's a good read, to be honest.
RZA, he's just like
He's on another planet, bro.
Yeah, hey.
When I just saw, I'm reading that book, and I just saw on social media earlier today some clips of him making the soundtrack to Samurai Jack.
Yeah.
And it's pretty nuts.
Yeah. So once again, and I say to you, go check it out.
No,
if you want to make a trip out of it.
Do you remember when they're coming to Tampa?
I think
later this year or next year?
Man, I think it's soon. No, it's this year. I think it's soon. I think it's within the next 2 months or even April. Like they getting this thing going.
Probably at the amphitheater.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I just saw
and it would Run the Jewels. I mean,
that's right.
I don't know. I'm they cool.
I'm not too familiar.
I'm not too much, but I know a lot of people speak highly of Run the Jewels tour wise. Like a lot of people would throw them on the tour. And it's Killer Mike and LP. These are two underground legends.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. That is a fact. I know of Run the Jewels. A bunch of my buddies are really into their music, and I've seen them live and say they put on a spectacular show. Yeah. Kind of like you said, I'm not super familiar with their catalog, but I have songs on my phone, good workout music. Anytime it comes on, it's cool. Yeah, it's good shit. I guess I definitely not as big a Run the Jewels fan as I am Woo, but I would go. Definitely. I would definitely go.
But we'll look into it. We'll see. Check his stories. If you make it, there you go. I'll see if I get some of the group to go. But man, I think it's on a weeknight. I think that's what kind of messed me up. I don't know if I'm gonna go to Tampa on a Tuesday.
That's usually a big
I would have
concert.
to look at a weekend situation. Right. Where you at on a weekend?
Right.
But enough of that.
I'll actually be in Tampa next weekend for a reggae. What is it? Reggae Rise Up. You ever heard of that?
No. What's up with that?
It's like a reggae festival. I've never been. Some of my buddies are really into it. So it's one of shout out to Buzzy. It's my buddy Buzzy's bachelor party. Okay. And they wanted to go to Reggae Rise Up. It's fucking Stephen Marley's gonna be there. All right. Kylie Buds. Shaggy's gonna be there. Yeah. There's a bunch of a bunch of big names.
Is this a 2-day kind of thing? Or?
It's all weekend. I want to say it's Thursday through Sunday, but we're only going Friday night, and then we're gonna do other things around Tampa.
You in Tampa, you figure something out.
Yeah, exactly.
If not, you go fishing,
right?
Something.
But I've been to shows at the Tampa Amphitheater, like we said, and like smaller, like Crowbar, kind of smaller venues.
Man, that's one place I always wanted to perform at. I wanted to perform at Crowbar. We did Orpheum before it closed down.
Yeah, rest in peace, man.
That's a huge venue. We did 2 events at Orpheum that we was a part of. But yeah, I always wanted to do Crowbar. They have an interesting story about, just being a small bar in Florida. Can we survive? Right. It was like a YouTube video a couple of years during COVID. It was probably about to close down.
I think I remember that actually. Yeah. The dude with the long hair talking about how he ran everything. Right. I forget his name, but shout out to that guy. He seemed like a fucking legend.
But other than that, I only went to the amphitheater once. Okay. When they did a festival out there. When Outkast did their last tour that they did like 10 years ago, they were there.
Damn, that was probably awesome.
And Chance did, but we missed Chance. That was the next night. Kind of like y'all. We just did one day. Right. In and Outkast. Drove from college, went down there, came back. Another story. Right. Adventures.
Dude, honestly, I can't even tell you. I've seen so many shows at that Tampa Amphitheater. Yeah. Most recently, so we're talking about OGs, last year, there was a tour with like Snoop, Warren G, Too Short, Wiz was on there randomly.
Oh, yeah? That sounded like the Kings of West Coast when they did their album. It kind of was,
yeah. Yeah. It was kind of on some old school West Coast shit, and then Wiz, I guess, to draw in the young crowd. But it was primarily, 90s OG rappers. It was awesome, though. That was a great show. Shout out to all those gentlemen. All right. Without further ado, man, let's do a quick 1s and 2s. Dez The Navigator edition. You know what I mean? Since we're on that shit, Death Row or Bad Boy?
Oh, boy. I'm going to go more Bad Boy. More Bad Boy.
East Coast
Because even, the East Coast, man. But, West Coast, you got to be a fan of Dr. Dre. Mm-hmm. I think that people could argue that when you compare who had more classics, you can probably lean towards Death Row, but I'm going Bad Boy. Come on. in the 2000s, we was Harlem shaking. Like,
all right, so if we're going Harlem, then we going Dipset or the Locks.
this man, that versus was so crazy.
I think we talked about this last time. I don't remember what the answer was though.
The answer was pretty much that the Locks had more unity. Growing up, I liked Dipset more because by then, when I was really processing it, Jadakiss kind of was doing the solo stuff. We Gonna Make It was like,
right.
That was huge
That's
to
still
me.
an anthem,
I
bro.
really liked that song, but at that
still an anthem.
I had to go back to really look at the Locks. So I lean more to Dipset. I don't know what's going on with their internal issues.
I was going to say, you see right now, they're kind of, Cam and Jim are going at each other, bro.
It's crazy. It's
2025.
I'm just leaving Harlem over there because at that point, it's crazy. One day I'm mad at Mace. Now we got a hit show, and then where's Joel Santana? I don't know. And then Jim Jones. It's a lot, and it's sad. It's sad, but people are humans. That's all facts. I can say. People are humans, man.
That's facts. Well, sidebar. I mean, I know you guys in the Innovators probably argue like brothers, but you never had real beef or anything, right?
Nah, man.
Nothing crazy.
Nah, that's
knock on wood. Let's keep it let's keep it that way.
Yeah, man, that's too much, man. Because people talking about personal stuff that's like, come on, dog.
Right. No.
Why is this here?
Yeah, I was just showing my girl some diss tracks from back in the day, and she was like, "What the?" You know, people think what Kendrick was saying about Drake was bad. Go listen to some old diss joints, bro.
Yeah, man.
They got hella disrespectful.
When you say diss track, and I think about Gucci from the Verses, and he kind of like told Jeezy, like, "No, I'm doing the diss track. If not, I'm not showing up."
Right.
I was just like, "Yo, that's a negotiation
That's
bargain
crazy.
chip."
That's crazy. Hey, man, to each their own, you know what I mean? Let's see. We go in Pharrell or Timbaland, given that you're a producer. We got a producer artist that we'll get to in a little bit.
Pharrell, Timbaland, more so Neptune's or Timbaland. I don't know, man. Now, that one's a tough one because it's moments. This has been a super side note, which I could probably do a podcast on my own. I don't know where to go. Some days I'm Timbaland and some days I'm Pharrell. Man.
Yeah, we can say both. That's cool.
Yeah, this one is both, but this is what, and this is gonna come left field because you mentioned Kendrick as well. Then you mentioned both of them. After everybody was kind of up in arms about Kendrick's halftime performance, I was like, what do people want?
Right.
So what I did was, and once again, just put this in the back of your mind, I went back and watched every halftime show from 93 to yesterday.
Damn.
Just to get an understanding of what are people really talking about.
Even the Janet and JT shit.
93. I started at Michael and ended at Kendrick.
Wow, bro.
And trust me, it's a lot of stuff we and our age group did not remember. It's a lot of stuff that I know somebody who's older than us kind of swept through the rug and be like, what do y'all want? Is it a spectacle? Is it just marching bands y'all want? What did y'all expect from Kendrick other than him being himself? But yeah, I done created a whole 15 list. I took notes. It's a whole thing. It's kind of an inner circle thing, but we'll get to that later. That's not important right now. But yes, I was thinking about that.
Well,
because Justin Timberlake, come back around, he did halftime, and he didn't bring out Timbaland or Neptune.
That is true.
And I was like, he could have brought one of them out.
Well, so to your point, I was telling one of my buddies that who somehow the halftime show came up, and he's not like super tapped into hip hop like you and I probably are. So I was telling him the importance, in my opinion, that he brought out Mustard.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
To put the producers in the forefront. Because a lot of people, even one of my coworkers who is really into hip hop, she didn't really know who that was. She was like, "Oh, that's one of his like buddies that he raps with," or whatever. I'm like, no. This motherfucker produced that track. You know what I mean?
And the track before,
right? Exactly. So I thought that was
a solid.
That was important
because even if you made a quick cameo, like the fact to see for me as a producer,
exactly,
like, man, he looked out.
Oh, you know bro. Because it's the Super Bowl, bro.
Yeah, he didn't have to, but
he did not have to do that.
And then boom. DJ Mustard has a collab with Heinz for Mustard. Like it's the sky's the limit at this point, you know? Yeah.
No, I thought that was very important. I just wanted to shout that out real quick. Shout out to Mustard, man. Well,
there you go.
All right, Rue, can you relax, sweetheart? Come on. Are we going? I know we talked about some of these last time. NFL Blitz or NBA Jam?
Oh, Blitz for sure. NBA Jam is great, but Blitz is all my friends know. Beyond Blitz, I'm the street. EA Street is where my heart is for real. But Blitz reminds me of playing with my cousins and just like the flea flicker, pass back, throw, and the way how they just emphasize that throw just looks hilarious. Every now and then I'll play Blitz. I have the game every now and then.
You still got it?
Because I have an emulator. So I'll pull out my emulator.
Damn.
But I've always been tapped in with Blitz 2000.
Yeah, Blitz was my shit back in the day, bro.
Yeah. You going Blitz over NBA Jam?
I think I would.
Okay. Yeah.
I had both, but I want to say we had Blitz first. And then we used to, when I played sports as a kid, we'd always go to like BW3 afterwards. Okay. And they had the arcade Blitz. Yeah. So we used to go crazy on that shit.
Yeah, and I feel like arcade-wise, not to sound like a cheapskate, but Blitz, 4 quarters, you really get your game's worth.
Right.
And some of these other games, like the shoot 'em up games, it's like, dog, you can't even get past stage 1.
Dawn of the Dead, right, or
whatever.
Yeah,
a whole bunch, man. You can't now, what, you $5 in 2 levels.
Right,
come on.
That's true. No, yeah, shout out to Blitz, man. They need to bring some of that shit back.
Yeah, they will. It's kind of tough. The NFL, like EA has a stronghold with the NFL.
Well, I wish they would do, like, I don't know if you've seen ads. They're literally just revamping the old Tony Hawk Pro Skater games.
Yes.
So, which is cool. I mean, I fucking play it. I love that shit.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
But why can't we do that with stuff like Blitz? Some of these old nostalgic games that we fucking love.
It's a licensing thing, man.
True.
All of that is, when you dig deep, it's licensing.
Well, do you think it has to do with John Madden passing too with EA?
Nah, because the licensing thing happened way before all of that. I don't know, because if you remember in our growing up, at least in the 2000s, we had options. You could be a Madden guy, or you could be an ESPN football guy, or what's another one? Basketball wise, Showtime. Kobe had his own game, like. The licensing, after a while, people was just like...
They all kind of narrowed down to now it's just 2K.
Yeah, Madden, 2K, and which that was the shocker, because you couldn't tell me in 2005 that NBA Live wasn't the best game.
That game was, I used to like NBA Live, bro.
06, 07, and then right around 07, that's when I noticed the shift. When PS3 came out, and somebody was like, yo... I think you should get 2K. I think it's a little bit better. And I switched over, and I was like, I don't know if it's better.
Yeah, it's different.
The graphics look a little bit different, and it took off.
That's true. Well, on that, MJ or LeBron?
We just having this conversation, man. MJ for me, but we was just saying what qualifies for somebody to be a GOAT. We just had this conversation earlier.
I think it's all your opinion.
Some people say, it can't be championships because nobody touching Bill Russell. That it can't be how many MVPs because, man, like MJ and LeBron has a bunch of MVPs. Is it rings? Is it stats? And then if it is stats, how many stats?
Right.
Because
where's the line drawn?
Yeah, and nobody has a clear understanding.
Right,
Even on the Mount Rushmore conversation, that's what we was talking about. What are we looking at? I don't understand what people really. It's good to have conversation.
Right.
What is the line? Because when people mention Kobe, I mentioned Tim Duncan, and then people be like, he wasn't commercial enough. I said, but look at the stats.
Right.
Though.
What does that mean? Commercial enough?
What do you mean? Like
he wasn't popular. He wasn't as popular, basically.
Yeah. It's like how many times you seen a quadruple double happen?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
have you ever tried to shoot a bank shot?
Yeah. Like him and like Wilt are the only 2 people who really pulled it off on an NBA level. But yeah. But LeBron, what he's doing. It's crazy.
It's different. Like that's what's interesting because people try to make them seem so similar and parallel, but they're kind of not.
They're not the same at all.
Right.
Like we're talking about LeBron could probably play till his other son come into the league.
Right.
And it's like, man, think about that. I think it was a hockey player that was able to do that. I can't think. I think somebody mentioned a hockey player was able to play with his sons in the league before he retired. Do some research.
Yeah,
I don't know his name,
right,
but I don't know if you've seen that before floating around.
That rings a bell, yeah.
But I was like, man, you can play with your sons in
the
any
league. Yeah, not just play in the backyard.
Not just one. They're not twins either. Like, what? Beast mode. But yeah, two different tells of two different stories.
That's fair. We going podcast or radio?
At this point, I'm kind of split. What exactly? Because I have the radio on all the time because I'm always in the van. But I have podcasts that would get me through the day. So it's really about what exactly we're talking about for music,
right?
Or for entertainment. You know what I mean? For entertainment, I'm going podcast,
right?
But if music, I could find my own music at this point with being the DJ and having, one of the only iPods on earth. So
the only iPod left standing.
Yeah. 2. I had to wake up my old one. I was like, you still work? Yep. Okay, cool.
Honestly, I could probably find mine somewhere. I know I had what was it? Like one of the first iPod videos.
Yes.
That had video capabilities.
I'm on the side of the internet where people are tricking those out to
I'm sure they
Bluetooth
can, right?
And you can do the capable. I'm looking at like, man, I might want to send this to y'all. Y'all could hook mine up. Like people could do some stuff with the iPod video.
If I could find mine, it's around here somewhere. I have like every phone, every last 4 or 5 phones I've ever had. All my old gadgets I usually keep.
Yeah, I usually keep. Something devastating has to happen to us. Like this is a crack phone, or I lost it or something. But yeah, I keep a lot of my old gadgets. But as far as entertainment goes, podcasting helps me throughout the work day.
Entertainment and education. I feel like I've been on more like educational podcasts lately. I used to be, just in general, I've kind of fallen off listening to podcasts because I don't drive as much anymore. I used to drive a lot for work and shit.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
It's situational because the radio, the big shows have video on YouTube that you can replay and listen to if you want to get the talking aspect of it. Music-wise, music is everywhere.
Yeah.
But being in a car, being in, just traveling, you kind of get an ear for what the program directors feel is what's hot.
Right.
And then every now and then I'll hear mixes and then you be like, okay, this song is working. Because it's hard to really understand what's a hit for real. Because of the internet. Just because it's a dance to it doesn't really make it a hit.
Right.
Stuff just be out there and then, it's like, I guess this is right.
Yeah, I mean.
But if it make it to the radio and it stays, then it's like, oh, this is really a hit.
Well, so the only radio, I just remember that's up there.
Oh, there you go.
Live from underground, you heard. Now, the only radio that I currently and actively listen to, I'm sure I've said this on the show plenty of times, is 89.9 WCF. It's mainly, it's like jazz, very chill, driving music, and they'll kind of sprinkle in NPR segments, so you get a little bit of news and talk radio and stuff, so it's a nice mix. But other than that, like the other day, I went to the gym, I forgot my headphones, so I'm listening to the pop hits that they're playing, and I'm just like, bro, I don't recognize a single one of these fucking songs right now.
Yeah, it happens, man. And I look at, this is a music nerd alert, but I do look at the Billboard to just try to see what's going on.
Yeah,
at least 3 times a month, I look at the Billboard because I take this seriously. You guys, look at the camera. Hey, you guys, like this is really my career here. I know some people just be, but it's nice to know what's going on. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, that's a great point.
But the Billboard, when I look at the Billboard, man, you be like, who is this?
Even the Grammys just happened recently, right? And a lot of those people, I'm like, I've heard your name. I don't know a single song of yours.
Yes,
right.
I heard your name, but like,
or I've seen you on Instagram. I don't even fucking know you though. Like I didn't even know you did music for. I thought you were an actor.
Now, do we have a lot of more questions?
No, yeah.
That segues to this been a conversation I have with my friends. family members about technology has got advanced, but man, what that feeling about MTV, BET, VH1 circa 99, 2000, 98. Let's call it from 98 to about 05.
TRL era.
TRL, 106 Apart, The Basement. VH1 was sprinkling things here and there. Before it was just nothing but just reality television. They were used to sprinkle.
Right.
But how important was that to transcend other people to other genres? Like, I didn't know of, this was an example, because you just watch videos. I was like, Alien Ant Farm, POD,
right?
Uncle Cracker. Who are these? I'm like,
you would just get these different.
Yeah, what is a hoobastank?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the videos, this was a part of your childhood. Videos come on, and then you go back to like my parents, being in high school and growing up when MTV first started. So now you're talking about like new age wave music and the pop music of their time, seeing Madonna, the whole thing about like Michael Jackson, and that's what they grew up on, and that it bridged the gap to other music. But now we live in a world where we're in our own lane.
That's
like
true.
I don't know what rock sounds like anymore.
That's
and
as someone who grew up on rock, I would probably say the same thing.
Yeah,
like today's rock, I don't even know what
I don't
it
know
is, really.
who's hot.
Right.
You remember when Good Charlotte finally came out, and it was like I was
talking about them recently. Actually,
like
that's hilarious.
Linkin Park. It was either you was into it, and I was like, they're rapping, but
right. It's like rap rock, Limp Bizkit.
Yeah,
bridging the gap a little bit.
Bridging the gap. Then once again, Super
Incubus.
Bowl. Yeah, Kid Rock was on the Super Bowl performance. This is crap that people forget about. But MTV gave you that. Then if they slid in some hip hop stuff, and that crossed over as well. So I feel like you're merging. We really don't have to do that anymore.
Well, I don't know what your theory on like why that is, but my theory would be we're also relying on the internet.
Right.
Because we used to rely on the TV to provide that to us. Nowadays, like you said, we're in our own lane. If, I'm a hip hop head, so when I'm on the internet, especially like we have the same apps, but our timelines could be totally drastically different.
Right. Like I brought it with the iPods, and that's not showing up with no others.
Right.
They got into my database, and it was like, yo, he's the iPod guy. Send him some content. But I don't know if like Viacom could have found a way to. Granted, I subscribe to MTV videos on YouTube, and you'll have some throwback channels on YouTube that would, push some of that. But I don't know. They could have transcended away on the internet early. They had the technology to kind of smoothly transition from, all right, y'all not watching TRL anymore. How can we come up with a format on YouTube or something to keep this up? Now, it's stuff there on YouTube, but it just, I don't know. Because now, I guess since we have the internet, it's right there.
Right.
So
we're our own curators.
We can
now.
curate it if we want to. You go to my YouTube subscriptions. Now I'm going backwards. I'm trying. It's channels that have throwback stuff that's like, oh man, I ran into the Men in Black cartoon. I was like, I haven't seen. I started watching. It's like, yo, this show is so random, but man, I remember this. But now, MTV is nothing but reality television. BET, you have to get good cable, which a lot of people not using.
It's all streaming now too.
Because if you have good cable, and I'll switch to the other channels. The other channels, VH1 Soul, BET has like 4 other channels where you can find music at.
The main channel's not based.
The main channel's not about music.
Yeah.
I remember when MTV2 was about music. MTV2 is about throwback shows now.
Right.
It's not. I watched the Wayans Bros.
They're gonna make
on MTV2.
MTV3 soon.
No, it's enough. They have MTV Classics.
Oh,
MTV
do they?
Rock. Yeah,
I don't even know.
Yeah, it's a whole.
But I mean, it baffles me. It's MTV, music, television.
Right?
And that shit just kind of got thrown to the back. I get it.
It's about money.
It's about making the money, the ratings, and all that.
I felt MTV could have transitioned to this is music and this is real world road rules. This is was it?
This
Sweet
is like
16.
MTV shows or
MTV
something.
show.
MTV reality, bro. Yeah,
MTV,
something,
come
bro.
Come on, man. We're giving y'all the giving all the keys.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't know. Even BET, they utilize the app. So I mean, I get it. If you want to see content that's different,
Right.
go on the app. But if I go to the app and don't find music,
Right. Yeah. What are we doing here?
yeah.
No, and I mean, I think you and I, as music nerds and producers, we probably know more expansive. We're more tapped in with different types of music than maybe the average listener.
Right.
But even still, just like you said, I could not tell you who's top of the charts in today's rock.
Yeah.
Who's top of the charts in today's, blues or pop, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Anything, even hip hop, honestly, because everything's so kind of like,
yeah,
just what it is, Again, I'm in my own lane.
I'm in my own lane.
Yeah.
And right
I'm listening
now,
to oldies and the shit I like.
Like right now, we're kind of in a transitional phase of you really don't know what hot albums is really coming out right now. Like this post Kendrick situation with Drake, a lot of albums kind of got chilled and stuff is slowly coming out now. But I think a lot of people is trying to build up for the summer, and I think some people should push their albums up because nobody is dropping like that. Remember, I don't know, about a year ago, it felt like, man, 4 albums is dropping in hip hop alone.
It was almost overwhelming to be honest.
It's like, how can right now? I probably listened to 3 albums this year for hip hop. I know
one of them being GNX probably.
Well, that was technically
last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, technically, okay. But when that dropped the night of our last show. It was just like that day. I was like, what is happening?
Oh yeah, that was November.
I was like, what is happening here? But yeah, you had who dropped? So Party Next Door and Drake dropped, Lil Baby dropped. 2 Chainz, Larry June, Alchemist dropped.
That's
West Side Gun dropped.
Yeah.
And who else dropped? I didn't listen to
I
it
think
at this point right now.
I think it was this year, if I'm not mistaken. But Ab-Soul dropped an album.
That was last year.
He dropped
Soul Burger. That was at the end of last year.
Was it the end of last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I talked about it on my top 10 projects I like.
Ab-Soul's one of my favorites out of TDE, bro.
He's such an interesting guy.
He is.
And I feel like he could pin a hit, and I think that it's like, I don't know. It's times where certain albums you can tell, oh, he kind of wanted to go for something kind of commercial, but some of those songs on that project you can push. What was it Don Julio 42, I think it's called, or something?
He's got a couple bangers on there.
That song, I think that's my favorite off that one.
Because to your point, I think my personal opinion is that a lot of people may not favor him because like he's so eclectic. His beats are not, industry standard, if you will. But I feel like the new album, to my surprise, had a lot of like heavy 808, some more industry type beats, and he still did his soul thing on it.
He had some samples on there,
right?
Yeah, for sure. But all right, next question, because we about to be here for an hour and a half. We can get into some music now.
No, yeah, I mean, I got plenty of questions. I figured
go for it.
We'll run through a couple more, and then we'll get more into the Dez story. You know what I mean?
Whatever works.
But just staying on music, we going SZA or Janae? Speaking of TDE.
Well, for me, I'm more. If I had to choose, I'm more SZA. But I could respect all the writing that Janae did behind the scenes and the grind to get to it. I just respect those stories. But to me, I lean more. I'm not a huge SZA fan. Shout out to all the young ladies of SZA fans.
Yeah, mainly because Or especially because today's International Women's Day. I completely forgot that earlier.
And
My
it's
fault.
the whole month, too. We got a whole month. I got my girl on, you know what I'm saying? Making sure I got represent Rhapsody on this one for Women's Month.
Shout out to rap.
But, I lean more towards SZA.
I probably listen to more SZA's music than Janae, personally.
And she's on the radio. Like, I can't run from Snooze. Rather if I like it or not. Snooze is on the radio at least. I don't know. I hear it at least once.
Right.
Once a day, probably 3 times in a week. I feel like.
Well, Doechie's kind of taken over now, too. Shout out Florida Swamp Princess.
Doechii is. I really can't wrap my head around it. I find it so interesting.
She's definitely more of a rapper than the other. Like SZA and Janae, I would say are singers.
Did you like her album?
I mean, from what I heard, I didn't listen to the whole thing.
I listened to her whole album. A lot of people bigged it up, and I was like, well, it's a mixtape, as she says.
Okay.
So I'm curious to know what the album is. A lot of people is buzzing on it, and I just want to see. That
came out last year too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like boom bap. That's a lot of people like Nissan Altima. A lot of people starting to like Denali is a River.
I like that boiled peanuts joint, bro.
Okay. With that one and like I said, boom bap. I was at an event and I was just chilling and I just heard it out of nowhere. The DJ played it and I was like, "Oh, this is it."
Yeah.
I said, "This is that." I went up, yo, what's that? Because I was just telling Kenny, I said, Kenny, I gotta listen to this Doechii album, and he played that. Who's that, Doechii? I said, see, yeah, I gotta listen to it. But I'm curious to see with the pressure and the album is half singing, half rap. I want to know what
direction she's gonna go in.
What direction before I could really see, because people be so fickle. People be like, right. "Yeah, I'm cool with it right now," and then she really be the artist.
She tries to step out of the box, and people are like, "Fuck is this?"
So I like her.
That's the danger of being an artist sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I just want to see how she's gonna handle that and how TDE is gonna handle that as well. So I'm gonna take a step back and see. Let it play out. That's how I feel like with Doechii. Let it play out. She's actually performing tonight in Miami at Jazz in the Garden.
Nice.
With it's kind of like Lauryn Hill and Friends, and she's part of the And Friends. So
okay, that's fire.
Out.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's, I mean, yeah, to your point, I feel like she's escalated very quickly from what it seems.
I mean, she's been around.
No, yeah, she's been in the Tampa scene. I know I've seen, because we're in Florida, in case you guys didn't know. So A, gotta support Florida artists, but B,
I didn't know her like in the Tampa scene though. Like I didn't see her pre on the come up.
Okay.
But
I feel like I'd heard her name, and at first I was just confused by it because I was like, how do I even pronounce that shit?
Yeah.
And just knowing some artists out of Tampa, people would be like, oh, saw this girl at a show or whatever.
Yeah.
But to your point, it was never like in my face up until probably the last year or two.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, this girl.
Because she had the song with, I believe she had the song with Kodak, and it kind of was on the radio, and then it kind of just disappeared.
I don't listen to too much Kodak personally.
Speaking of Florida, right?
There's some Florida shit.
This is one thing. This is a totally different conversation, and it goes back to, and Chen and I talked about this because we've been around for a minute. A lot of these artists out of Florida, I'm gonna tell you, that phase where people seen the uptick, that doesn't happen anymore. Like a lot of artists from Florida, I did not see the grind from them. Like the showcases or the random strip club performance or opening up act at some random. A lot of the artists that's like the Florida people, I didn't see them on the come up, and it's like
it's the fucking internet, bro.
Yeah, the internet, and it's weird because it's like, man, what happened to like you don't know who is the next up for real.
Going through the channels.
You just wake up one day and there's some viral clip, and then it's like, man, like the early 2000s, 90s, people was around. Like I always use the example of, to this day, 2004, Alonzo Mourning used to do Zoe Summer Groove. It used to be like a a whole week of events. People come to Miami in the summer. It used to be an all-star game. It used to be a comedy show. It used to be all sorts of stuff. It used to be a big deal in the summertime. And before the game, it was a group who opened up, and it was Pretty Ricky and the Mavericks at the time.
Pretty Ricky. And
you seen them, people wasn't paying attention. Some people was paying attention, but before they let us into the game, they performed. Right. And it was like 1 year later, 2005, here these guys on BET, on MTV, and doing all that. And it's like, I seen those guys on the grind. Now, people ask me, did you see so-and-so? Like when Kodak blew up, I was just like, by the time he was going viral, he was already up. I was like, I didn't know where this came from.
Well, and tell me you've seen that clip of young Kodak rapping boom bap shit, bro. You seen that clip?
That's actually a remix.
Is it? Okay.
Yes, because I have that song. I like it. I found it, but he was actually rapping to if I'm not mistaken, he was actually rapping to, I think, the Ambition Meat Mill Ambition beat. So it was still a nice different pocket.
Okay.
But that boom bap remix
and his style,
fits.
Right?
But yeah, he was writing. He was writing. A lot of them write, and then they just switch the sauce. But I don't know. A lot of those guys and girls, I just didn't. Like a lot of people, like XXX. I just remember. I remember a viral clip of the second.
Because he's from Miami too, right? So you probably
would
have
like Broward. Yeah, he's up in Broward, if I'm not mistaken. I think the second clip of the second Rolling Loud, they had him at the small stage, and it was up. And like before that, I didn't know about him or Ski Mask or
a lot of those guys,
Little Pump or Smoke Purple. Like a lot of these dudes, I was like, where they coming from? We doing these showcases. The people I do showcases, I don't even see them.
Right.
Like, what's happening here? But the internet, it changed the game. Like that grind it's different now. Like if you used to ask me and I ask you, who do you think is next in the city?
From
that
here?
You hear buzzing. It's like, or you see something happening.
Shit. Yeah, it's tough, man.
It's different. Like,
especially because I think it's probably different for you and I being not only artists who live in Florida and have been creating in Florida and all that, but like the perspective and perception that I get from outsiders looking in, either people who don't live in Florida or people who aren't in music. They kind of think like the Kodak sound and all that, that's the entirety of Florida.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I appreciate so much about Doechii, because she kind of came out and was like, nah. Not that, I'm sure she could do that sound if she wanted to, but
yeah, she get on track.
She does some left field stuff. She does some singing.
Yeah. She's influenced by a lot of things.
Right.
And that's good because a lot of people think, one track, I remember somebody thought I was from Virginia, like way before my cousin moved up to Virginia. Somebody thought I was from Virginia. It was like, you from Miami? I was like, yeah, man. It's like, oh, you different. I was like, what do you think? Miami is just a melting pot of all sorts of stuff. People just think it's one thing. It's a whole bunch of things. Trust me. Like,
when I went to a music, not a festival, a music conference, probably a year or two ago with Butta.
Yeah.
And we were playing music, and I don't know if it was the way my music sounded or the way that I was dressed.
Yeah.
But they thought like for a fact that I was from like Cali. They thought I was a West Coast dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, I take zero offense to that, but I lived on the East Coast my whole life.
Yeah.
I've been to California one time in my life.
Yeah.
But I do listen to a lot of Cali music. Maybe I dress skater type, so the Cali vibes, whatever.
It works.
It was just, I was like, that's very interesting that you guys think I'm like from fucking Venice Beach or something.
But then the real question is, was somebody from Cali there?
I don't think so.
Okay, because I was like, man, if you ask somebody from Cali,
they're
like,
probably like fuck.
Yeah.
This
no, but then
Orlando.
you'd be like, but then the real question would be like, do you think it'll work over there?
True.
That would be the question.
Yeah, because that's what I want to. Am I marketable over there?
Yeah, because
should I move to Cali?
Or should I take it, experiment? Should I do an open mic over there or something like that? Yeah.
No, yeah, it depends how you take the 2 cents.
Yeah, for sure.
Do what you want with it. But yeah, I think we're good on the 1s and 2s. We're already like 45 minutes in, so we're gonna get to the Dez story, man. Because we didn't talk about it too much last time. We talked about the origin story of the Innovators.
Right.
You guys meeting in college and everything. Again, shout out to the boys.
Yes, sir.
But today I want to go even further back than that. What first influenced you as a young man in Miami to start getting involved with music, whether it was writing, beats? What came first?
Well, it's the music collection of my dad mixed with my mom loving to do choreography. So I used to hear jazz from my mom because she used to do choreography. She teaches like in elementary school, English, whatever. She's flexible. Wherever they need her at, she'll teach that in elementary school. But
smart lady.
Yeah, she had the passion to do choreography from way back. She used to do dance, modern dance, and ballet stuff back then. So I used to hear this Miles Davis album all the time and stuff like that. So that's one side. The other side is my dad. My dad is the music guy of the family.
Just has like all sorts of records.
Not really records, because we're talking late 80s, early 90s, so his CD and tape game is crazy.
Damn, bro, tapes.
And
me
my
back.
dad, I got this here. And he'll just show me stuff, and he just used to just really, really, I like that he's able to, now we have technology that he can DJ in a sense of play what he wanted. He got on the computer and play. Because I felt like my dad, if he had the technology, I think my dad could have been a DJ.
Oh, yeah.
Or could have figured out how to make some beats. But, the late 80s, that's a whole nother world.
Yeah. That's probably like some of the first drum machines.
Yeah, and it's like you have to be a computer whiz. You really got to be in it to win it for sure. But his music collection really got me into music and opening my mind to go back to, like MTV and stuff like that. I just remember my dad played "Give It Away," Red Hot Chili Peppers. I looked at him and was like, "What is you this? Have the CD?" And I seen the music video. I was like, "This is crazy."
Yeah.
So that right there, it's like I like music for sure. And I say this jokingly, like my dad and my mom had me to a point where like I had a Walkman tape player young, and was listening to Fuji's The Score. Who at 5 and 6? Like, who is this kid?
You started early, bro.
Right. But in school, I took a liking to music, and I was pretty good at understanding what is a note and this and that. So I was like, well, I'm good at this. I want to lean into it. And I progressed to band in middle school.
What'd you play in band?
And so the first instrument was bass clarinet, and I played that. And then I switched over to trombone when I was in high school. So I played both pretty much all the way through college. But just that love for music continued. So just the understanding of music started first. Now making beats, kind of like I said, my dad, I mentioned this before, he had a software called Acid Pro.
That's a fucking throwback.
Yeah, and we would just sit there, my cousins and we just sit there. It's like, how do you even work
yeah, what is going on right now?
Because Acid Pro was like, I think my dad wanted capabilities of a Fruity Loop to really try to create for real, but that wasn't really too
around
hot.
yet.
It wasn't too hot at that time.
Okay.
We're talking like 05, 06. Like it probably was around, but it was
probably the first version that just came out or something.
So it was like Acid Pro 4 or 3. So it's something that's been around that you can, Pro Tools was around, but nobody was that deep into Pro Tools. Pro Tools wasn't like how it is today.
Right.
Then, like, you really have to be locked in.
Right.
But my cousins and I, like I said, shout out to Julian and then my older cousin Andrew. We kind of was just into music, and we used to come up with stuff. We'll remix songs, and we'll try to
put
figure
your own
out
little spice on it.
And we came up with Killer Jam Records. That was our group, and it was like, once my dad got the Acid Pro, he gave it to Andrew. So we'll go to Andrew's house and like, okay, what's next?
So well, just to clarify, your dad, shout out to your dad first off, because he not only supplied you with your first taste of music and love of music, but literally gave you your first DAW. It sounds like,
in a sense, yeah. Because my computer couldn't really run it, so it was on Andrew. So we'll go to Andrew. He's only a few. For
the folks who don't know, DAW is digital audio workshop, right?
Yes, workshop. Something to do some stuff on.
Right. Like Logic, Pro Tools, all the stuff we're talking about.
So, Andrew, he's only a few years older than me, so he's not like he had his own house. No,
right.
No.
But when you're young, you're 12 and your cousin's 16. He's like a man to you.
Yeah, so he's like, I'm 12, he's 15,
right.
And then Julian is 3 under me, so he's 9. So it's kind of like help each other.
Yeah.
But at one point, he was like, if we got this, I'll get a mic. But of course, we didn't get one of these. We had like the Logitech
little Xbox
2.1. and we just used to use, because I was trying to figure out how to loop on that software. And I still have some of the stuff I did from back then. Nice. Some of those recordings, I don't know how I was able to
sometimes it'll humble you to go back. I had a homie from college send me some shit the other day. I'm like, oh my God, bro.
But it's bittersweet, because you be like, man, I remember this, or man, this took me to a time where, man, whoa.
Yeah, what type of shit was I on?
But a lot of that, a lot of those loops and ideas, because at this point, we was just having ideas, and we can record now. So now we can make songs.
Right.
But
all you need, once you have the DAW and a mic, bro, you're off and running.
But here's the thing. To this day, everybody kind of made fun of me because I was like, I couldn't get the music to MySpace. I didn't know how to do it.
But that comes with just the knowledge.
People was killing it. It was boom, MySpace. Check out my music, and I was like, "How can we get our music to MySpace?" Right. I didn't know. We never end up putting music on MySpace, but
supposedly MySpace is making a resurgence. I've heard.
I don't know.
I tried to check it out, but I couldn't.
I couldn't relog in. Post MySpace era days, MySpace was your TikTok.
We're dating ourselves now. Yeah,
was your Facebook. Before
this
then,
is pre-Facebook.
We used to be coding top 8.
Top 8, you heard?
I was like, man, top 8. Then the word on the street was, if you do this code, you can expand.
Yeah, top 16.
I was like, I need a 16, because somebody gonna be sad they didn't make it to my 8.
Right.
But
which is also ridiculous. You're kind of just showcasing, these are my best friends.
These are my best friends.
Which is
and
wild.
Then some of your family members be like, come on, dog.
Right.
That our family members took up 4. Now you, man. Woo. Then the top 8 changed. You know something up. You know what I mean?
You had a beef with you just moved down my top. You went from 4 to 6, bro.
Now you talk about people finding out, I unfollowed somebody. Boy, you knew when that top 8, your girl was on number 1. Now she nowhere near.
Yeah, she
like,
better.
Dang, dog, what happened? But MySpace resurgence. When last time I checked, I used to log in every now and then just to see what was going on, but it just totally changed. And now my login didn't even work. So I'm curious to know how MySpace would be now.
Well, supposedly, it might have been Jayoko when she was here. Shout out to Jayoko. I think she was telling me that it's making a resurgence, but more or less as a music platform.
It makes sense.
Not like a social media per se.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe a hybrid of social media and something like Spotify.
Yeah.
Or SoundCloud.
Which would be good, and I think they should lean into getting some of their throwbacks. Like if Soulja Boy was somebody to talk about
First rapper on MySpace.
Like it'll bring at least some attention and do some interviews on it. I mean, hey, as long as you get the splits right, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
if MySpace pays the artist more than everybody else, they'll be back. You know what I'm saying?
Well, now that we're saying it out loud, that would be a good idea to do essentially that. Yeah. Make a hybrid of socials with something like SoundCloud. Because now, before streaming was as big as it is now, it used to be, what's your SoundCloud? And that's cool. You go listen to my shit, but there's not as much of the social interaction as there is on something like MySpace.
And I've been hearing SoundCloud been kind of rebranding in a sense of a way.
I haven't even been on my SoundCloud in so long.
It's they're trying to get into the streaming, but not really.
Okay.
But that brings us up to high school, and then once around that time, Julian was messing with Fruity Loops as my tail end about to graduate. He got into Fruity Loops because he was just, I gotta figure this out. Mm-hmm. So he was showing me, I'm chopping on this. And then he got the MPC first. And at this time, getting into college, now I've end up majoring in music technology. I minored in music business. Well, not really music business, but business. We didn't have music business at the time, but that would have been.
That's what I was using it for.
But even though, because it was going to be the other way around, I was going to do like business, some form of business. I just knew I like music. I like business.
Right.
It was going to come together, but that gave me the opportunity to get a DAW, as we learned it here today, with Reason and starting to learn how to make. I'm big on Reason for sure. That leads us up to the last episode. We'll probably point out whatever number episode this is in post.
Yeah, let me look it up while you're talking.
But that will lead up to meeting the group. So that's kind of some backstory right there. My parents influenced me for some music. And then growing up with my cousins, just making anything. And that really made the dream look real.
97.
Episode 97.
Episode 97.
Yes.
And like you said, that was almost exactly a year ago. So it's March 8th. It was February 19th of last year. Yeah.
Yes. So that leads us up to that episode. Y'all go check that out.
Yes, sir. 97.
And what's some other questions?
Well, so you got the DAWs, you start kind of fucking around with that, you meet the Innovators. Did you ever try to do, I guess outside of like your cousins, before you met the Innovators, did you ever try to do a Dez solo venture?
Not really. It just, everything kind of just happened, just boom. It was always not like always in a group, but always around the group.
Surrounded by that's good though.
Because I just wanted to get my beats out. That has always been my quote from the beginning. Like even when it comes to rapping,
which I'm gonna show you something after this. I've recorded to one of yours finally.
Bet. There we go. Progress, you guys. Y'all know how I feel. I be like, man. It's if I was a producer on the Detox, like that's how I be feeling sometimes. Like, man, is it gonna come out? Oh, man, so many could have been projects. Right. Could have been songs that never came out. But no, I really wasn't thinking solo wise until like just making beat tapes. It just got to a point where we was making beat tapes, and I was just like, man, I got some more beats. Let's start doing some beat tapes.
Right.
And I think that even like a Dez rapping project, it would be short. Like the stuff I think about just be short concepts, right? But
well, that's the beauty of being in a group. You're like, okay, boom, I don't have to write one verse for this song.
For sure.
Everything else is taken care of because I got my guys here.
Yeah, and it's interesting in that perspective. The group work is the pros and cons of it.
I was going to say, I guess it could be because maybe you don't get all your shit off. You
that too, or I'm ready and y'all not ready. You kind of go like that. But when it comes to like now with the flexibility of stuff we do, kind of if I want to drop this, go ahead, go for it.
Right, just like Wu-Tang.
Yeah,
we're collective, but we're also separate entities. Oh shit, this camera died.
Oh boy, and I don't even know what's up with the other camera. I see this just blinking.
That's cool.
We might be stuck to one. That's fine as well.
Well, I mean, we're at about an hour, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
I charge the batteries though, so that's bullshit.
But hey, hard work is hard work.
We still got the wide shot here. But we can't cut the episode obviously without talking about the next installment of Live from the Underground.
Yeah,
you see the cap.
Yeah, man. Always got to wear something. So I don't know this, and it goes along to what everybody saying. Don't do a crazy rant. So I'm gonna keep it mad conservative. I'm gonna get my bars off, but I'm gonna talk about this. For months and months ago, we've been thinking we are the Innovators Music Group. We are innovators. What we do is we come up with ideas of stuff that we want to do.
Right.
And a couple of months ago, probably like 6 months ago, we was like, what if we just do an all-women lineup? And we just started thinking about it. It's like, man, we know enough ladies to be able to. I told PJ, I said, I don't even want to DJ. I will be DJing. We try to reach out to some DJs,
some lady DJs.
And it wasn't able to make it happen.
Yeah,
I really want to though.
That'd be dope just to have the whole collect. You guys can just sit back and
just
we're the organizers for tonight. That's it.
And that's pretty much what it is, honestly.
And also, I mean, can we just stop and talk about the fact that you guys are even willing to do that? Because so many people aren't. You know what I mean?
You think so?
I think a lot of people. I think
we out one. As
we're on the
say
last
that,
one.
we're down to one. Let me do something.
We're on the last one. I think a lot of times people, especially artists, unfortunately, are kind of so self-centered. They're like, if I'm not performing, if it's not about me, then not that I don't want to get involved, but like I'm not going to put my full effort in and all this stuff. So honestly, I applaud that you guys, you've obviously built this rapport with Grumpies as more or less people who put on the shows, not only the artists and the DJs, but the organizers. We're putting this shit on for everybody. So when I saw you guys were doing it ladies' night, my first question was like, are they performing? But it definitely seems like you're not, which I kind of applaud more.
Nah, we're not performing. It's hosted
putting on for other artists.
It's hosted by Nadia Sabe. Y'all go follow her. The stuff she's doing with Dare Defy. She has her own podcast situation where she breaks down
Shout
things.
out Ari.
And like, she be saying some stuff now. I'm subscribed. I don't know if you subscribe, but I'm subscribed, so I get the information. We wanted her to be the host. And
she performed at one of your guys.
Yes, last year. So
great singer too.
We want her to be the host because she's gonna bring that energy.
So she's hosting.
She's hosting. So
and then the artists you got.
So before that,
okay.
Shout out to Amanda at Grumpy's.
Right.
She made it happen to where we're here. We're a fixture, I guess. She, like we mentioned, we always.
That's what I'm
very
saying.
Appreciative.
You guys have a rapport with her now. She didn't even have to ask questions. Like,
no,
you guys got it.
No, and it's like, it's something that we really, really work hard to find somebody who's willing to accept us, but also believe in us to even do this. Because, man, we spend a lot of money, and that we'll get to that on the back end. So to somebody who kind of believes in it is better than us just pulling out a lot of money just to get a venue.
Right.
So that's shout out to Amanda always. So Amanda mentioned an artist that performed at Grumpy's before, and she was like, reach out to her. I really like her and see what happens. But the catch is she's out of Georgia. She's in Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken, she told us. And she gave us her Instagram. Her name is Kenise. Kenise is an artist that we just reached out on a prayer. We said, Amanda, like her, we're going to go get her.
Good referral.
Come on. If Amanda say, yo, try to get this person, we're gonna do it because that's the relationship we have. She do right by us so much.
Right.
And just like we reached out, and a couple of weeks passed by, and it was just like she didn't see the message, and we was like, huh?
Yeah.
And then one day it was just like, bling, wait, what? Yeah, I'm interested. Ooh, okay, all right, we're gonna add her. So we have Kenise. She just dropped a video. What was that? About 3 weeks ago, of her doing like, it's kind of like on some Tiny Desk vibes up in Georgia.
Nice.
Had a whole little band, and she's singing, and go check her out and check out that video. That's like 3 weeks ago.
You said Kenise.
Yes. So we have her. Now we have somebody who performed within last year, 2 artists that they was actually on the same lineup. So we have Leah Ting, of course. She's coming
Shout out
back.
Leah Ting.
And you
got a couple veterans coming back.
Yeah, like veterans. So we have her, then Shawty Lean, and we was like, man, because people be flaking on us. We want some of these, as they call film MCs, females. We want the women to be barring us down.
Right.
And they're few or far. Some never replied to us, or some, but Charlene is coming back. I enjoyed both.
I know she's barred up.
Yeah, Shawty. I like Shawty Lean, how she has a mixture of melodies and then a mixture of energy with rap as well.
Right.
With Leah Ting, it's just so free flowing.
Yeah,
it's just like, I just remember when she performed, it was just like, this is the energy.
This is vibes.
Press play, and I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, even though, all the singers are so different, like all the ladies that came through the underground, and even Innovative Activity, I think about it. I got them all on a playlist. Like, if you performed at our event, one of your songs is on my iPod somewhere.
Right.
So it's like the energy they bring. Then we got some people who've been rocking with us even longer, with BB and
BB's
Leonie.
definitely barred up.
And with BB, I like the timing with us. I feel like every time we reach out to her, she's working on something new.
Right.
Which is good timing for us. That means we get some exclusives.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Hey,
Every
Esco,
time
you still owe me that verse, by the way, too.
Yeah. Did she do anything yet? Did she come here?
We're working on a song together. We've
Did
been
she
working
do an
on it for a
episode?
while. No, actually, no.
Yo, do an episode. Come on. What you waiting on?
I'm saying,
Her and everybody. You know what? Next show, we should just do interview here with just all the artists.
Honestly,
let's go for it. But
we'll do a live kPodcast episode at the show.
Yeah. We reporting live from Grumpy's at sound check. You know what I mean? But Leonie,
she got the nice melodic.
What I like about Leonie is that, like, it's not pop, but it's pop. Like, I want these songs to be singles. Like, she don't have B-sides. Like, she got songs that you can tell, like, this is my vibe right now, and this is a single.
Right.
Some people are like, yo, this is my new song, but I feel like she has that ambition that this could go on the radio.
Well, and she'll bust out the guitar too. Like, she's a songwriter for real.
Man,
not that these other ladies aren't. But
no.
That
all of it's dope. So to have this lineup, and it's just like, we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if this is just a one-off, or I don't know what would take us, but we just wanted to and Women's Month too.
Right.
That's what PJ was like, yeah, do it on Women's Month. Yeah. We was out here plotting. Like, yeah, this would be dope. I don't know where it's gonna take us, but I'm excited to be able to do this.
And this is March 21st, right?
March 21st, Grumpy's Underground. Tickets, we have the link. Just follow us. The link is there. But 20 at the door, or 20 now pretty much, because we done missed all of the pre-stuff. But I'm hyped. I've been curating a playlist for the night since I'm DJing.
Mm-hmm.
keep it a secret, but hopefully he'll talk about it later on my attempt of what I'm going to do throughout the night. But speaking for the whole group, this is going to be something interesting for us and something different. And I'm excited. We've been working on something. We're trying to get y'all some content out as soon as possible. We're trying to team up with Park Ave CDs.
Park.
We're going to do the interview in there, but we're going to try to bridge the gap because we got to get music fans to these shows. And I think that right there is you should have a connection with the record shop. Yeah.
There's Tony's Donuts right up right on the street.
Yeah.
Right where Orange meets Colonial. Tony's Donut Shop. Another record shop.
Totally clueless, but I gotta stop there too. But shout out
cool
to
little hip hop events and stuff.
Shout out to Park Ave CDs. We're gonna do some things, and hopefully, stuff is coming soon. Definitely
March 21st, live from the Underground Ladies Night.
Please support.
Hell yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there every time.
Man. That's the biggest thing when people the same with me with rants. It's just, I don't know, man. We spend a lot of money on these shows. And I don't think that we really get our just due. And I don't think that, like, people really respect us in a sense.
Well, and
it's tough. It's really tough out here.
That's why I say what I said earlier, because not only do I see what you guys have been doing for years, but the fact that now, because all the shows up until this point, you guys have performed, which obviously there's nothing fucking wrong with that. Right. You did all the work. You might as well perform too. Right. But the fact that on this show, you guys even said, you know what? Like, we're still going to put in the same effort and organize this show for everything, but we're removing ourselves as the artists, Yeah. I feel like that's commendable.
Yeah, we'll see how people will take into it for sure. I don't know. I shout out ACT. He did his show in January for his project, and it's just like, man, y'all showed up. Shout out P Butter, but it's like, man, how do you? It's like, do y'all take us serious, or do y'all just see us like, Like, we think about this thing, like, the moment of truth for us is when we finally drop our next project. Will people actually support? And it's like, as much support that we done did for everybody else, will we be champion as the people's champ for once after all the work? Because people say community, as I always say. Everybody's yell out community. Everybody say support each other. You've seen us around. We done shared links. When it's our time, we're going to see who's really going to rock with us. Because if we do, because that was his, album release celebration situation. And it's like, man, if we do a small tour for our next project, or if we do the night that we're going to say it's the headliner for the project, it's like, who's really going to show up? Is this just a K-Pod and P Butter and
Hey, we're there every time, bro.
It's like, is it just them two? And it's like, yo, we was able to touch the spirits and hearts of so many people. We done paid so many people to perform, and it's like, do y'all only see us as just another performance, or do y'all really see what we're trying to do here?
I think it was one of the times where you guys did the pre-show interviews in, like, the White Room. Yeah. Someone was saying how, we'll just talk about Orlando specifically because that's where we're at. Right. How, what's the word? Kind of like separated and clicked up everything is around
Florida.
Here.
If it's times 2 in Miami.
True. See, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's a Florida thing, man.
I think it's just like an ego thing. Because for all we know, that could be in every state, New York,
For
Cali,
sure.
Texas.
And
I could be all
believe
over
that.
the place,
Yeah.
probably. And it's unfortunate. That's why I think me personally, and it seems like you guys are obviously the same way. Like I said, just removing the ego and just being so selfless with it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, why not support artist X over here?
Yeah.
Producer Y over here. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, even if you don't have a personal friendship or relationship with them, do you like their music? Have they done anything that's, you know, touched your spirit in a certain way or whatever the case? But like I was saying earlier, unfortunately, I think and I've seen so many artists, and not even just artists, I would say people in general, are just so, what are you doing for me? They're so self-centered, so focused on, what do I get out of this?
Right.
Maybe you get nothing out of this.
Yeah.
However, did you have a good time? Did you enjoy yourself? Like, that's getting something out of this as far as I'm concerned. You're just, it's community, like actually building community though.
Right. And that's the crazy thing, because we talk about like, even like we're gonna have to dial back on some stuff because we realize people not utilizing it. People not utilizing the pictures. People not utilizing the highlight videos. And it's like, man, if somebody would have gave me, it's so much lost footage of promises that of footage I was supposed. I done did gigs where they promised us the audio. I never got the audio. Promised us highlight videos. This, as we mentioned, it's a lot of missing interviews that we never got.
Right.
So I just be like, man, y'all don't even like the highlight videos, and breaking the bank for people to have interviews and highlight videos and stuff like that. So we really had to go to the drawing board. Like, this year is going to be some dialing back for sure. But for this show, for the ladies, we can't dial back for the ladies.
True.
We're definitely going to one up on it, at least do the best we can. And I feel I like those conversations. It might be, like I said, more dialed back. Like, I might use my cameras to record, but I think these conversations, put in the mic, and we're gonna do it soon, but having the ladies talk. Of course, Kanice is out of state, so she won't be there. But at least have a good chunk of them talk to each other. It creates a understanding, a camaraderie. It's nice to meet the people you're on a lineup with. I know that in the case of some of your lineups, we wasn't able to do interviews or nothing at that time. I like it to have people be able to at least meet each other, or talk stuff amongst each other. It creates this.
I agree 100%.
Chemistry.
Well, because you've probably seen, shows you've done, or the Live from the Underground shows.
Yeah.
Soundcheck, great example.
Yeah.
Everyone gets there and you know who each other is. Chances are you even followed each other, but you can just see the ego in the room. Everyone come and does their shit, and then kind of
everybody kind of disappears.
Yeah.
And it's like,
divides.
We're here to do a show together.
Right.
But I noticed, and we kind of learned this through when we did an innovative activity 2 years ago
in Miami.
Yeah, and shout out Backroom Sessions. They were sponsored with us, helped us out do the show, and they said we need to do a content shoot. And I was like, okay, where and who's in whatever. we're here. Well, at least I am, because it kind of just happened. So I was the only one from the group who was able to go to the content shoot. But the biggest miracle was I ordered the shirts, and the shirts came in. So everybody wore the innovative activity shirts. We took pictures.
Oh, yeah.
But what made it cool was a good chunk of the people was able to meet each other.
Right.
And try to get, jokes. Jokes happen.
Right.
And once I seen that, I just called them. It's like, yo, we need to start bringing people together before the show. If they're here and they're available, just so they can know each other.
Well, because in that environment, I think you're being introduced to the human first. Once you're at show night, people show up as the artist. You know what I mean? It's like,
and some people could show up as the character even then, but it's nice to at least get an understanding.
Right.
So I'm kind of excited to see how it's gonna work out. Yeah,
no,
you too.
Rudy, relax.
But definitely fun fact for y'all, for people throwing shows. Try to do content shoots before, if you can. If you have the access, try to do that. I know we at 2 hours. We at 2 hours.
No, we're at it's hour and 20 minutes. We're down to one camera now.
Down
Two
to
of the
one
cameras
camera.
died.
It's all good. Any more questions per se? Because I know Cass is like, man, I ain't about to watch this. We getting up to like Joe Budden podcast time. They be podcasting 17 hours. I'm with it. Go ahead, man. Run it up.
No, yeah, I mean,
It's so easy when, you're just kicking back and just talking.
right. That's what it's all about here, man. We pretty much ran through all the questions that I had, and you're always welcome back. I mainly wanted to promote the show.
For sure.
Promote Dez himself, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yes, this is an urban legend, apparently. Man of many nicknames. Look out for the mixes. Look out for the beats. Look out for the projects.
Where can they find him at?
Well, let's backtrack that. Dez the Navigator. Just, as I always say, just Google it. But I'm on streaming, so some projects are not there. Those projects that you can't find is at theinnovators.bandcamp.com or the Gemini Project.bandcamp.com. But once you type in Dez the Navigator, it kind of gauge to
Should bring up all that stuff.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people like some of the newer stuff that's on the streaming sites. But if you want to see the growth of the catalog of, man, he went from this to this, go ahead to the Bandcamp. imgmerch.com definitely got stuff there. You just stay locked in, because it's a lot of stuff I got in my mind I want to put out and do. We have a mix. More mixes will come out. I will at least give y'all at least 4 mixes this year, at least, of just recording when I'm actually out. But
I know, what's the one you guys got, like the 24-minute DJ lounge set on streaming?
Yes, we put that
I'll
there.
definitely be rocking
That's
shit.
the Donut Lounge. Man, I want to shout out to the Donut Lounge. I want to go back up there, but it's New York. You kind of got to plan it out, man.
Right.
You got to plan it out. It's definitely something that's been on both of our minds for the last 3 years, 2 years. Like, it was so much fun. You would like it, because it's just producers doing their thing. The actual spot is a bar. They got some random arcade games that you've never seen before. This is random games. It's not like, oh, this is old.
Yeah.
These are new. It feel like your friend made this game and they made it and they just put it in there.
What part of New York?
That's in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Unless they move, but if they're still at the same place, it was in Brooklyn. And the energy, once again, is, we know what we signed up for. So we're locked into hearing new beats, new approach to it. I really like that energy of out there. So definitely, yes, that's on streaming. That's Gemini Project, Donut Lounge, if that. Soul Solid Forces on YouTube. Unapologetic ACT, his project is out.
It's one of my favorite mugs now.
There we go. We got mugs. And it's produced by the Gemini Project. That's us. And we sat
AKA
there.
Dez and Scuba Jew, right?
Yes. And we sat there and we just me always kind of been the executive producer of ACT's projects since his second project. His first project, we was talking about his first project with his producer that was in Baltimore way before we got here, when, look up his episode. But I always try to hear beats and a man of many hats.
Oh, yeah.
Man of many hats. That's why people feel like I'm a legend. Is really a underdog story of a guy who will switch hats. Today I'm a producer. Tomorrow I'm doing promotion for an event that I'm a part of that created. The other hat is, I'm a business owner. We really look into some other things about how can we grow the record label.
Right.
And then after that, I might write a bar for a song randomly, or I'm working on beats, or I'm DJing. It's like, realistically speaking, I'm really putting my degree into action.
Right.
And the money will follow.
We applaud that here, man. I mean, people don't realize the amount of hats that independent, not just artists, but independent people trying to get to it really have to put on. You know what I mean?
It's a lot. And we're not even getting into the part where I think of an idea of a shirt and then send it to a graphic designer or send it to my cousin and try to get some of these crazy ideas on shirts. I'm a big graphic tee guy.
Right.
So it's like, how can we make us look cool?
Right.
And these are things that go through my mind all day, on top of figuring out who's the new hot artist and what sounds I want to do and what's my 2 cents to the game.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, Rook. I know.
But definitely it's always an adventure. If it's solo or not, even working, we even get to all the works that I do. Shout out to Jamel. All my cousins, man. All my cousins are talented. Because like even Levi Without a Tribe, who performed last year, that is my cousin.
That was a dude from Jax, right?
Yes,
yeah.
That's my cousin in Jacksonville. And he's coming out with Bootleg 2. I don't know when, but he told me, he said, yo, we coming back. ACT's actually on Bootleg 1. I don't know. Yeah. Check it out. He's on Bootleg 1. But to be able to get my cousin perform on a show, go do something, produce, send a track to my cousin in London, and he work on some things, send me some ideas. Even that, all of this is a big deal to me.
Yeah, bro.
So, music, man. One day, all the pieces gonna fall into place, and it's gonna happen. And I appreciate all of y'all who praying for me for it to happen. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, man. No, absolutely. I mean, I understand it. Being a musician, I know it's tough because from my perspective, sometimes people who aren't in it don't really get it. So it's almost like you're speaking a foreign language, which can be frustrating or just kind of like get you down sometimes. Because
we didn't even get into like, we're doing this at the bare bones. Like I know you mentioned we was talking about with the clips and all of that, being able to monetize and got to do promotion for this, and we're not even talking about like the real business, the paperwork side. Like not all of us is even tapped into that all the way.
Right.
Like you're talking about the sound scans and copyrights, and it's all of it. It's this a whole new world out there. And as an independent artist, we just trying to get a couple of dollars or at least and some recognition. But it gets way more deeper than just put out a record.
Yeah, I mean you can't just be an artist anymore. You have to be an artist, businessman, more woman.
And you gotta or you get a team.
Or get a team.
Everybody, the thing about team is that I want other people to do some of the work, but everything
that would be nice.
Feels like
that would be nice, wouldn't it?
It's money. Everything's money, man. It feels like I can't trust y'all. Like, how are you guaranteeing me 1 million views? How does that even work?
Right.
How you have a price point to it?
Well, and sadly, I feel like you can never guarantee either that someone's going to be as invested in your project or in you as much as you are. You know, that's the sad truth. I feel like.
What's your views on using advertising? Like people use, Facebook ads to go on Instagram on your songs.
I'm not opposed to it. I've only done it once.
Did you feel you got anything from it? The theory.
Nothing outside of more views, which some people views is the world. But if views don't equate to more money or some sort of progress outside of people just seeing your shit, because they can see it and then never listen to it again. So what was the real point of that?
I feel like the way how stuff target, if you can find that right target, because it'll be some songs that will find me, through the feed,
right,
through the stories, and I'll be like, okay, and then somehow they retarget me again. It's like, nah, I'm feeling this. It worked, but
sometimes it'll work.
Sometimes it worked, and I was like, it kind of goes back to the whole ghostwriting thing in the case of hip hop, right? Some people are such opposed to advertisement because they don't feel like it's genuine. But then I feel like one day I was sitting back and I was like,
what's different than that and a label marketing your shit?
Or a commercial on TV.
You're just not. I think the difference is, as an underground artist, we have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Versus a label or someone else paying for it for you.
And that's how I felt. I was like, man, commercials are advertisement, and we are so accepting to see this on television every day.
Bro, so I feel like more than half of success is just marketing. You don't even have to be that good. If you can market yourself properly, like you're set.
I'm somewhere in the middle, because at some point you say, man, it's running my pockets, and I don't I don't feel it.
So listen to this. I don't remember. I don't know who the band was, where I saw this shit, but I saw a video that was basically saying some underground, unknown, independent band.
Yeah.
Basically, I think it was they spent a total of like $40K.
Yeah.
Just to pack out seats at their shows. You saw this video?
Yeah.
And they're saying, what the fuck is the point of that? You're wasting money, blah, blah, blah. But fast forward, they got picked up by some small, I don't remember if they got picked up by a label, but they definitely got picked up as an opener on a much larger tour. Because
I think it created a bidding war or something like that. Where they're going to land at.
That's where the gray area is.
That's a huge gray area.
Because the reason they got picked up on the tour is because they were successful in selling out this other mini tour.
Yeah.
But were they really if they bought their own tickets? It's like a catch-22 almost.
And it's like, can I pack out Grumpy's 3 times and show y'all stats of it? Right. And eventually would that lead me to somewhere else?
A bigger venue, right.
And then I don't know. But
it's a gamble, bro.
I don't have the money to be messing like that.
Throw into empty seats, bro.
40K would go somewhere else. Trust me.
Right. So, no, I remember hearing, we must have saw the same clip, but my mind was blown by that shit. But the fact that also is a proven success story today is also what blows my mind.
It's a facade. Everything's a facade. And it's hard to explain people that's not in the music to explain how some of this stuff works. And it's like, I'm not hating.
No, yeah.
But this, like some of the songs that you hear, it's been this marketing,
shit,
this money here and looped around to this. And
or what they call it, like the streaming farms and all that shit.
Yeah, people.
They say invest in yourself, but I never thought it was that literal.
Yeah, like
buy empty seats to your show so you sell out shows.
Man, like
it's crazy, bro.
And I don't even know. That's a big gamble.
Most independent artists like us don't have money to do that shit. Like we said, you just got $40K to just throw at shows.
Some people have investors, and I'm like, show me where is the conference for investors? Where do they at? So I can go there, so I can have investors.
That's what they need to make a MySpace where it's like social artists getting plugged up with investors or something.
I'm telling you, this is stuff that it could be happening.
It could be,
because I'm still trying to figure out. I forgot the name of the thing. Where a lot of these acts go, it's a conference to go so they could get picked up in the college circuit. It's a man, I can't think of it. If you know, put it in the comment. Like you go there and
they're specifically looking for
this is how like people do the college runs on a smaller level. Comedians will go to this, like bands, artists. And you go there and then they see you and check you out and be like, okay, I'm going to look up. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
But I remember this a while ago because I was like, how do you be able to go and perform? DJs to do it.
Right.
It's a conference.
Yeah, you need to put me on game with that shit. I don't think I ever heard of that. But yeah, we're going to wrap up this one, man. You can always come back. You know that.
Oh, yeah,
once we get these cameras charged back up.
Nah, for sure. I'm all with it. I'll come back for sure. And maybe Maybe we get the Chin story. Maybe we get the PJ story.
Right.
I'll come back. There's no pressure. It's nothing much. So much to talk about. Like I said, we'll get back to that Super Bowl one. Maybe we remember that for next time.
Episode. No, yeah, but for now, man, this is episode 109. And make sure you guys pull up March 21st. Live from the Underground Ladies Edition.
Ladies Night.
You know what I mean?
I'm hyped. I'm hyped
I'm
for real.
hyped too. You know I'll be there, bro. But we got a little saying around here, as you know, man. Stay safe, stay smart, stay sexy, and stay tuned. Episode 109 of the kPodcast. Dez.
Oh, yes, the 09. Good year.
Great year. Appreciate you coming through, man. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for having me.
That's a wrap. Sayonara. Fuck out. Thanks for listening. Hasta luego. Thanks for tuning in. You don't have to go home. You just can't stay here, alright? Peace.